have already discussed about the basics, little basics about that differential, ordinary differential equations and then partial differential equations. Okay, but we did not discuss in details. Today also we are not going to discuss more details about that solution techniques, etc. But we'll be giving some motivations again to see like what are all the problems which can solve using the partial differential equations and what are all the importance of the partial differential equations, etc. So this is our second lecture. So let us begin. Okay. So again, the recap. Okay, what we have discussed is that let us revisit the ODE problem once again. So in this one, we discussed this problem, like suppose f of x equal to 4x square. Okay, f of x equal to 4x square means f dash of x equal to 8x. Okay, but doesn't mean that, okay, this implies this, but this doesn't implies that f of x equal to 4x square. Instead, you will get a constant. Okay, so f of x is going to become like 4x square plus some constant is going to come. Okay, so this is not correctly going to imply that. So similarly, like if you take y equal to e power 5x or y equal to sin x, you can find dy by dx. But once you come back to that reverse way, you are not going to get the same thing. Okay, because you are going to get a family of curve. So here c is nothing but some constant. So instead of that f of x equal to 4x square, you are going to get a family of parabolas. You are going to get. Okay, I have taken a simple parabola for which I have taken f dash of x, which is going to give you a straight line. Okay, but if I take f of x, if I take it in the, if this information is given, what I'm going to get is that I'm going to get a family of curves. I'm not going to get the unique one. Same way we have discussed about that PDE problem also. So u equal to e power x minus y. Okay, in that case we have implied that u equal to e power x minus y. So then ux was e power x minus y and uy was minus e power x minus y. So ex plus uy is going to become like 0, but it doesn't mean that. So this implies this. Okay, but this does not imply that this one. Okay, this is not going to be there. So ex plus uy equal to 0 doesn't mean that u equal to e power x minus y is the only solution. In fact, you will get u equal to f of x minus y itself is a solution, so that you can verify it. Okay, so u equal to f of x minus y means what you are going to get is that ux is going to become like f dash of x minus y. Okay, into with respect to x I have differentiate 1. Uy is going to become like f dash of x minus y into minus 1 is going to come. So this is going to be minus e power minus f dash of x minus y. So if I sum these together, ux plus uy, that is going to become like 0, because this is positive, this is negative, so 0 is going to come. So that means like PDE, suppose a function is given from which you can find a partial differential equation. Okay, a unique partial differential equation will get it. But if a partial differential equation is given, it is not necessary that you are going to get a same function whatever you have started with. Okay, so you'll get a plenty of function, so you will not get a unique answer. So these things we have discussed already in the last class. Okay, so this one similarly like uxx plus uyy, that is going to become like 2u in this case, and that also we have seen that is going to become like a Helmholtz equation. So these problems will solve it using the separation of variables, etc. Let us see that in the later lecture. So now let us come to the formal mathematical definition of ODE and PDE. So what is a ODE? A ODE is a differential equation, okay, that consists of only one independent variable. Okay, so that means like I will have only one independent variable, remaining all going to be the derivatives of that different ordinary derivative is going to come. So for example, a simple one you can take it. So let us take omega, a subset of R. Okay, this is my domain is going to be omega subset of R, and let's take m belongs to n, a natural number. Okay, m belongs to n. Okay, then what I'm going to define is that I'm going to define a function f such that omega cross r power m to r I'm going to define as follows. Okay, so this is a function I'm going to define. Then the ODE can be defined as follows. So f of x comma y of x comma dy by dx comma d square y by dx square comma etc. d power m by y by dx power m equal to 0. Okay, so if I define like this is called ordinary differential equation. Okay, this is the formal definition of the ODE in terms of the mathematical way. F is a function from omega cross r power m to r. Okay, so y is where y is going to belong to, y belongs to this omega to r. So all the y is going to belong from omega to r is going to be there. Okay, so that is the function definition I'm defining. So each x is taking the values from omega. Okay, so this y of x is going to become like a function. So y is a function from omega to r. Okay, dy by dx. Okay, so that is going to become like again like dy by dx. So I don't know like where it is going to be there. So I can just say like this is going to become like I can say like r cross to r also it can go. So dy by dx is going to be again, this is going to be a r is going to be there. So omega cross r, omega to r is going to come, d squared by again omega to r, etc is going to come, because your x is defined on that. So this is with respect to x everywhere. Therefore dy by dx is again omega to r, d squared by x square is again omega to r, etc. Then I'm just taking this this function, the general function. Okay, general function. This is the formal definition of ordinary differential equations. Any doubts on this one? The formal definition of ODE. Hope you have studied that in the ODE course already. Okay, so next one. Similarly, you can define the system of ODE also. Okay, so in the case of system of ODE, what you are going to have is that here I have taken omega subset of R. In that case, I am going to take a general again omega is subset of R only. But now what I'm going to do is that this y is a function from omega to r. Okay, this y is taken from omega to r. Now instead of that, what I'm going to take is that I'm going to take omega is a function from omega to r power p. I'm going to take. Okay, means I am taking like p variable. So I can define y of y is a vector now. Okay, y is a vector now. So what I'm going to define is that y of x is nothing but y of x is nothing but y1 of x, y2 of x, etc yp of x is going to be that. That means I'm having a vector with p components. Okay, so each component is going to take a value omega. Okay, y1 of x, y2 of x, yp of x is going to be there. So y of x is nothing but y1 of x, y2 of x, yp of x is going to be there. So therefore, what is it going to come in this case? Okay, so I'm going to define this function in a different way. So this is going to be defined as follows. This I'm just going to erase it. Okay. So in this case, what is it going to come? This is going to become like f is a function from omega cross. Okay, so y of x, since in the previous case I defined omega cross r power m, because each one is each y domain, dy domain, d square y by d square domain, everything is r. That's the reason I got defined. Now here it is going to become like r power p cross r power p cross r power p, etc r power p is going to come. So like this, I'm just going to repeat that m times. Okay, 2. Okay, I don't know what is that other dimension is going to be. Okay, so this one also I can just either I can define r power p or r power some other, because this is a system of ODE. What you are going to get is that you are going to get m variables. Okay, y is having m components are there, and that I'm going to map it to q. On the other side, I'm just going to map it some other dimension. So this is kind of a matrix system or nonlinear system is going to come. So in this case, what is it going to come? So this I'm just defining like d of x comma y of x. Okay, where this y is nothing but this one. Okay, that's why I have given capital letter over there. Okay, or bold letter. So dy by dx, sorry, y of x, dy by dx, d square y by dx square, etc. d power m by d power m y of x by dx power m. Remember that this is a vector. Okay, so this is a scalar, this is a vector, this is again a vector, because y contains p components, so it is a vector. Again, this is a vector, this is a vector, etc is going to come. Okay, so all are having p components. Each one has p components. Here p components, p components are there. So this is called system of ODE. Okay, this is the general definition of the mathematical way of defining the system of ODE. So now let us come to that some of the remarks on ODE. Okay, so for example, if you consider this f of the first one which I defined, f of x comma y of x comma dy by dx.
Sir, here x is a vector or not?
X is not a vector. I didn't say x is a vector. X is a scalar only. X belongs to omega only, omega subset of R. X is not a vector. X is belongs to omega. Okay, omega is subset of R. Only Y is a vector. X is not a vector. So here you can see that X is, the only dependent variable is that X only. Okay, only X is the dependent variable. Here also you can see that X, Y of X. This is a dependent variable. Y of X, sorry, independent variable. X is the independent variable. Okay, X is independent variable. Y is depending on X, therefore it is a dependent variable. Dy by dx again depending on X, therefore it is a dependent variable. D square by dx square is depending on X, therefore it is dependent variable. So except X, everything is a dependent variable. So X alone is the independent variable. Okay, only one independent variable, that is called X. Okay, all other derivatives and functions are functions of X only. Okay, functions of function of Y of X, unknown function Y of X system. Okay. So the order of the ODE, how do we define is that suppose you have written this in terms of equation, and if you find what is the coefficient of this equation, okay, this coefficient of equation is going to be like not zero, then we can say that is going to be the derivative of the highest derivative of the function. Okay, that is called the order of the ODE, we can say. We say F is linear, okay, if all the coefficients are appearing in this one. Okay, like suppose I write this is a function I have written. Okay, I did not write explicitly here. This is the implicit function I have written. So if this implicit function is going to can be written in some expression, that expression contains the coefficients. Okay, the coefficients of each of the variables, dy by dx, d square by dx square, etc. That is going to have only the independent variable X. Then we call it as a linear equation. So we'll see that with respect to partial differential equation, how to classify as a linear equation or not linear equation, etc. in the later lecture. So now let us come to that simple examples. For example, the first equation, you can say that ds by dt equal to minus k into s of t minus s of I. This is the survivability with 8s. Okay, that equation. So S is going to denote the survivability once the person is affected by the 8s. That is called survivability equation. So that is one example for ODE. Another is population growth. Okay, Tn by dt b of n t minus n of nt. That is also the ordinary differential equation. And then some mechanical engineering problems or physics problem, you can say that simple harmonic equation, where you talk about the oscillation of the pendulum or suspension of the bridge, etc. So that is simple harmonic equation. That is also there. That is again ODE. And the Newton law of cooling. So for example, you keep a cup of coffee, okay, in a mug, and then you can observe like how much heat it will be, how much time it will be keeping the temperatures, or at what time it will reach the room temperature, or how the surrounding medium temperature is going to be get, etc. So those things you can just describe using the Newton's law of cooling. So not these are all some of the example problems. Okay. Now, how do we solve this problem? Okay, suppose I have given a problem. Okay, suppose I have given a ODE problem. How are you going to solve that? Let us test your ODE knowledge, and analysis knowledge. How are you going to solve it? Suppose I have a problem. Okay, dy by dx equal to r of x. So how do you solve this problem? This is a general problem I have given. What are all the conditions will you impose and then solve this problem? Simple problem. Dy by dx equal to r of x is given. How do you solve this problem?
Integrating both sides with respect to x.
Okay, you are going to integrate with respect to x. Okay, fine. Then, what is the guarantee that you will get the solution for this one? What are the conditions you require for this to solve
One
this?
constant will be also there.
Okay, let it be some constant. That is after that stage. Okay. Now, what is the guarantee that your integral is going to exist? So I need to discuss about two things. One is existence and uniqueness. I got to discuss. So this existence, you are saying this is going to be there, but what is the guarantee that I will get this existence? What is the condition I need to impose on r of x so that I will get the answers for this one?
It should be a continuous function.
So you want r of x to be continuous. Okay. So which theorem is guaranteeing me that if r of x is continuous, I will get the answer for this one? Any idea? Which theorem? Could you say state the theorem which is going to tell me that if r of x is continuous, some analysis theorem which is going to give me the answer that it is going to be the solution is going to exist or the integral is going to exist? Any answer? So what are all the theorems you have studied in analysis course in integral? Could you state one or two theorems? Should I pick someone? Okay. Yeah, Pritam Joshi. Could you tell me one or two theorems in integral which you have studied in analysis course? Pritam?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, could you state one or two theorems which you have studied in analysis course on with respect to integral? Pritam?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please state one or two theorems which you have studied in analysis 1 course. Okay, Tejaram?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please state one or two theorems which you have studied in analysis 1 course with respect to integral.
Which theorem you want to say?
Which, sorry?
Which theorem, sir?
Okay. Okay, Dashna?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, could you state one or two theorems which you have studied in
Every
integral?
continuous function is R-integrable.
Okay. And now, what is the most important theorem in integral?
Most important.
Which is one of the basic one in that integral calculus. Okay, Deepan Vita?
Yes.
Sorry?
Most important theorem.
Yeah. It is the building block for almost all the integral calculus problems. Without which you might have studied the without which you might have solved many problems in your BSc and school level. Without knowing that theorem. Okay, I will read. Yeah.
I can't remember.
So you remember this theorem, fundamental theorem of calculus? So which is one of the basic building block, not only for the ODE, okay, for solving the ODE, this is the basic building block. Okay, so without that, you cannot solve ODE problems. And again, same thing for the PD also, you require a similar kind of technique for that. So if r of x is continuous, this theorem is going to assert that I'm going to get the solution for this one. Okay, so the fundamental theorem of calculus is saying that if f is continuous, okay, f is continuous on the interval a comma b, okay, and I can define, okay, f is continuous, so f is continuous on a comma b, and I can define a function called f of x. How am I going to define? I'm going to define like this: a to x f of t dt. I'm going to define. Okay, so that means I'm going to associate a number. This is going to be a to x f of t. So for given x, I'm going to find what is the integral a to x f of t dt. Okay, so this is going to be continuous. Since f is continuous, this is going to be continuous on a comma b. And it is going to be, this f is going to be differentiable on the open interval a comma b. Okay, this is also guaranteed. So on its derivative, what is the derivative is going to be there? That is going to become like f dash of x is going to become like d by dx of integral a to x f of t dt. Okay, and that is going to become like f of x. So this is the fundamental theorem of calculus is saying. So using which only you can solve this simple problem. dy by dx equal to r of x. This is the one you can solve it using the fundamental theorem of calculus. Okay, so if some other conditions are given like a to b etc., then additionally, you have this one, but this is not required for this PDE. Like if it's any antiderivative of f1 ab, then integral f of x dx equal to f of b minus f of a. That is second part of the fundamental theorem of calculus. That is not very important for us, but the important part is that dy by dx equal to r of x means you can solve this problem. Okay, so f dash of x equal to f of x. So for which, how are you going to find the answer? The answer is going to be in the concept of fundamental theorem of calculus, using which you are going to calculate it. So for which r of x is continuous, then only you can apply this theorem and then you can calculate it. Okay, so that is the building blocks for the ODE course. And then suppose you want the existence theorem for ODE. This also you might have studied. Okay, so could you state, Srisa, could you state one or two theorems which you have studied in the ODE course? Srisa?
Picard's approximation theorem, sir.
Okay, what does the theorem says?
It says existence and uniqueness.
Okay. So what is the problem statement for that? Okay. So yeah, that is correct. Like we say, like Peano's existence theorem, Picard's existence theorem is going to say about that approximations, etc. So Peano's existence theorem, it is going to say about this one, like y dash of f of x comma y equal to y of x naught. Okay, some initial value problem is given. Y of y dash equal to f of x comma y, and y of x naught equal to y naught. It is given. Okay, so this theorem is going to give you the existence of solution. So it is going to say, suppose f of x comma y, the right hand side is continuous for all points x comma y in a some rectangle. Some rectangle I'm going to take it. Okay, so in this it is going to be continuous. So that rectangle I can define like this: x minus x naught, okay, less than a, and y minus y naught less than b. So this is the rectangle I have defined. Okay, so then this theorem is going to guarantee, suppose there exists a number, okay, there exists a number k such that modulus of f of x comma y is less than or equal to k for all x comma y in this R, then this initial value problem, this is called initial value problem because I'm just defining the conditions on the initial position. Okay, x naught is the initial position, so I'm defining a condition on the initial position. That is the reason it is called initial value problem. So this initial value problem has at least one solution. Okay, it is saying at least one solution. It is not showing uniqueness now. It is saying at least one solution. And this solution exists, where it is going to exist is that it is going to be either in a subrectangle or in the entire rectangle. It's going to be in a subrectangle. Okay, so in this rectangle, it is going to be there. So that rectangle, how am I going to choose? That is going to be x minus x naught less than alpha. Okay, so correspondingly, you will get the you will get a smaller region over here. How am I going to choose this alpha? This alpha is chosen in such a way that this is going to be minimum of this a comma b by k. Okay, this is the Peano's existence theorem is stating. So this is part of ODE. So this you might have learned already. Now, uniqueness theorem. So in addition to this, you need to introduce one more condition called Lipschitz condition. So the Lipschitz condition is going to state as follows, like f of x comma. So take 2 points, okay, y1 and y2. So f of x comma y1 minus f of x comma y2 is less than or equal to modulus, okay, less than or equal to modulus of some m into y1 minus y2. So some m is going to exist in such a way that, okay, so what you are going to get, there exists a number m such that f of x comma minus f of x comma y2 less than or equal to m into y1 minus y2, then this initial value problem is going to have a unique solution, at most one solution. That means you are going to get unique solution. Okay, so the previous theorem is going to say about like what is the existence. Okay, this theorem is going to say about the uniqueness. Okay, so you might have studied these kind of keywords. You might have understood from the ODE course. For example, you might have studied about separable ODE, exact ODE, Bernoulli equation, Euler-Cauchy equation, Euler-Lagrange equation, legendary equation, Bessel equations, and then something called superposition principles. Apart from that, Wronski and okay, and how to solve the problems with constant coefficient, how to solve the problems with variable coefficients, how to solve the problems with variation of parameters, Green's functions, boundary value problems, and something extra like the exponential matrix, etc., etc. I might have studied in the ODE course. Okay, so now we'll come to the BDE course. This is the recap of whatever you have done in the analysis course and ODE course. Okay, now let us come to that our topic, like PDE preliminaries. What are we going to define that? So in partial differential equation, Okay, partial differential equation again a differential equation only. But in the case of ODE, what you have is that you got a function like f of y comma y of x comma y y dash of x comma y double dash of x comma etc etc. You got. Okay. Now in the case of ODE, this x is a scalar. X is a scalar. Okay, and that is nothing but x belongs to omega, I got told, and that is a subset of R. Okay, it's a independent variable. X belongs to omega R is a subset of R, and it's an independent variable. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take this x as a vector. X is a vector. Okay, I can take x equal to x comma y comma z, I can take it, or I can take x equal to x comma y, I can take it. Okay, depending on 1D or 2D, etc. So this is called it's a differential equation involving an unknown function. Okay, you are going to have an unknown function. Here you had a y as an unknown function. Now I'm going to define u as an unknown function. Okay, which contains 2 or more variables. Okay, it is going to contain 2 or more variables. So that means if I say u of x, this is going to become like u of x comma y, or it will become like u of x comma y comma z, depending on the situation wherever I'm defining. Okay, and all the finite number of partial derivatives also going to be the function of this one. So it is going to be a vector valued function instead of a scalar valued function. It is going to be a vector valued function. Okay, so let us see that with the formal definition of ODE. So I'm going to define what are the independent variables. So the independent variable x is here is a scalar, only one independent variable. So here it is going to become like a vector. Okay, x is going to become like x1, x2, etc. xn, I have defined. Yeah, n variables are there. So which is belongs to omega, which is subset of r power n. Okay, that means I am taking a n-dimensional vector. Okay, that is nothing but my independent variable. Now dependent variable. So the dependent variable also I'm going to take it. So u. Okay, u also I'm defining like this. This unknown function. This is the unknown function, which also I'm going to define like this. Okay, u is equal to u1, u2, etc. up I'm going to define. Okay, so this is going to belongs to r power p, where p is greater than or equal to 1, n is greater than or equal to 2. So here at least n is greater than or equal to 2 is required. Here p is at least greater than or equal to 1 is required. Okay, at least one should be there here. Then I'm going to define some indices. That indices is nothing but alpha. Okay, this alpha, what is it denoting? So this is going to say summation. I'm just defining some indices. Okay, alpha equal to some variables I'm going to take it. Okay, so that is n variables I'm going to take it. Alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. Alpha n. These are all indices. Okay, integers z plus n. All are positive integers I'm going to take it. Okay, positive non-zero integers I'm going to take it. Now mod alpha, which I'm defining like summation I equal to 1 to n alpha I. Okay, this is nothing but the some index I'm going to define. Okay, then what I'm going to define? I'm going to define d alpha u. This is called the partial derivative. Okay, so that is going to be defined as follows: dou alpha u divided by dou alpha 1 u1 dou alpha dou alpha 1 x1 dou alpha 2 x2, etc. dou alpha n xn. So means for each x1 I'm defining alpha 1, for each xi I'm defining a alpha I. Okay, for each xi I'm defining a alpha I. Okay, so alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n is there. So from which I'm just defining this way: d alpha u equal to dou alpha u. Okay, dou alpha 1 x1, dou alpha 2 x2, dou alpha 3 x3, etc. dou alpha n xn I'm defining. This is called the partial derivative. I'm going to define it. Okay, now let us see what is the partial differential equation. Okay, the formal definition, how are we going to define that? So like the way I defined here, now what I'm going to define is that I'm going to define the formal definition of the PDE as follows. So you have already the alphas, etc. What I'm going to define. Okay, so here what I'm going to define, omega is subset of r power n. Okay, so therefore I'm going to take x belongs to n and m belongs to n, as I have done in the last one also, same way, m belongs to n. Okay, now f is a function from omega cross r power p, okay, cross r power p sorry, r power np, then cross r power n square p, etc., etc. R power n power mp is going to come to some r power q. I'm going to find. Let me explain what is it. What does it mean? Okay, because this is going to be different. Okay, not the way which we have did it in the ODE class. This is different. So let us define and then I will explain. So this is going to be f of x. Okay, then what I'm going to have, du is going to be there. Means alpha is 1 here. Means the mod alpha is going to be 1 here. Then I'm having d square u. Okay, that means mod alpha equal to 2 here. Then d3u, etc., etc. d power mu equal to 0 is going to come. This is called the partial differential equations formal definition, or simply I can put f of x comma dou alpha. So I can simply put d mod alpha u. Okay, where mod alpha is, or simply I can put like this, d alpha u, not mod alpha. Here I can put mod alpha less than or equal to m. I can define. That is all. This is simple. Okay, simple writing. So what does it mean here? See, I'm taking du. Okay, what is du is going to be there? Du is going to become like everything 1 is going to be there. Therefore, this is going to become like I'm going to have, what are the possibilities I'm going to have? See, du, what is going to be there? So mod alpha equal to 1 means what are all the possibilities I'm going to have? I can put alpha 1 equal to 1. Remaining things I can put 0. Therefore, I'm going to have d dou u by dou x1 I can have. Okay. Next one, similar. Again I can have. So this one I can have. Okay. Then I have dou u by dou x2 I can have. Means I'm going to keep alpha, mod alpha equal to 1 should be there. So this is going to be 1, and this is going to become like alpha. This is 0. This is 1. Okay. So that means first pair is 1, 0, etc. 0. Okay. The alpha is going to be. Second time I can take 0, 1, 0, etc., etc. I can take. Third time I can take 0, 0, 1, etc. I can take. So similarly I can keep on doing. Dou x3, etc. Dou u by dou xn is going to come. This is du. Now let us see d square u. What is d square u is going to be there? Okay. D square u means, so this is going to be 2. That means I can put different combinations. I can put dou square u by dou x square I can put it. Sorry, dou x1 square I can put it. Okay. Then I can put dou square u by dou x2 square I can put it. Means I can put alpha equal to 2, 0, 0, 0. Then again here 0, 2, 0, 0. Then again I can put dou square u by dou x cube square. Means 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, etc., etc. Dou square u by dou xn square I can put. But it did not stop here. What I'm going to have is that I can put my alpha as 1, 1, 0, 0 also I can put, because here dou square u, dou alpha 1 means dou x1, dou x2 can come. So that means dou square u by dou x1, dou x2 is going to come. Similarly, dou square u by dou x1, dou x3 can come, etc., etc. is going to come. Okay, dou square u by dou x2, dou x3, etc., etc. is going to come. So like this I can keep on doing. So I'm going to have dou square u by dou xn minus 1, dou xn is going to come. So I can see that how many is going to come here. So there is p here. Okay, and here you can take the combinations. Okay, so 2 combinations you can take. So you are going to get np combination is going to come. So if you keep on doing this one, because every time, so you keep this one fixed. Okay, and then vary that other variable. So dou x1, dou x2, dou x1, dou x3, dou x2, dou x1, dou x4, etc. So another p will come. Again, keep the 2 as fixed and keep on varying. So like this, if you keep on doing that, you are going to get r power np variable is going to come. Okay, so np variable is going to come. Same way here, the next one you are going to make this combination 3. Therefore 1, 1, 3, 0, 0, 0, 3, 0, 0, 0, 0, 3 like this you can put, and again you can put 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0 like this. You can keep on keeping. So in that case, you are going to get n square p. So keep on doing this one. For d power mu, you are going to get r power n power mp is going to come. Okay, this is the general definition for PDE formal definition. So this is the PDE definition for the mathematical way. Okay, so here again same thing, nth order derivative of the function should appear in the equation. Then it is called mth order partial differential equation. Okay, mth order partial differential, mth order coefficient should not vanish. Okay, this is the formal definition. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, let us define it in a simple way for one variable, and then we'll see what is it going to be there. And then for simple problems also we'll discuss. Okay, so again, I'm just redefining the same thing, whatever I discussed. Okay, I'm just going to rewrite the same thing. Now, instead of in the previous one, I got taken u is equal to u1, u2, etc. Right? Now I'm simply going to take u equal to u1 only. Only one dependent variable is going to be there, and f is a real valued function. So that means what I'm going to take p equal to 1, and q also I'm going to take it as 1. So that means what I'm going to have, I'm going to have f of x comma u comma du comma d square u comma etc. d power mu equal to 0 is going to come, where f is a function from omega cross r, okay, cross r power n, cross r power n square, etc., etc., r power n is going to come to r. Okay, this is the function is going to be there. Same thing, wherever p is there in the previous one, I just replaced with 1. Okay, wherever p was there, I just replaced with 1. Wherever q was there, I replaced with 1. That's all. This is a simple, only one dependent variable. So let us see the some examples for the 2D and 3D, because mostly in this lecture you are going to talk about 2D and 3D problems only. So we'll talk about that. Okay, so 2D and 3D problems are most practical problem, but in this course actually we will not solve only 2D and 3D problem. We will solve the n-dimensional problem also. Okay, always we'll be talking about the n-dimensional problem. So let us see the formal. Let us see some of the example. For example, if I take my x equal to, okay. So x equal to x comma y, if I take it, okay, 2D problem. Then what I'm going to have, I'm going to define. So for this only, so u is a only dependent variable, means u equal to u1 only. Okay, means only one variable is there. So I'm just simply putting u. So in that case, what is this going to become? So f of x comma, okay, u comma, let me put u, okay, x comma y comma is going to be there. Okay, because omega is x equal to x comma y. Okay, so x comma y, then I'm going to have u x, u y, u xx, u yy, u xy. Okay, I can define this way. Okay, this is called equal to 0, I can put it. Okay, so this is one way. Similarly, you can define, suppose x equal to x comma y comma z. Then what is my f of x comma, what is this equation is going to become like? F of x comma y comma z comma ux, uy, uz, then u xx, u xy, u xz, okay, u yy, u yz, u zz. Okay, similarly you can put the u uyx and u zx also you can put it. Okay, the other way also you can put it, but I'm not keeping that. I'm just assuming that the symmetricity is there. Now you can define similar way, like uxx, uxy, etc., etc. I can keep on defining. Okay, this is the third one in that presentation. Similarly, you can define for n-dimensional thing. Okay, you can define like as many derivatives as you want. You can define that. Okay, so this is called a simple example for 2D and 3D problems of PD. Okay, so this is the simple exercise for you to solve the ODEs using the techniques in using the ODE techniques. Okay, simple exercise for you to solve the problems. Now let us come to important linear PDEs. Okay, 4 important linear PDEs. So mostly in this lecture, in this entire course, what you will be solving is that you will be solving these type of problems only. These 4 problems only mostly will be solving. And how are we going to solve this problem with different types of techniques? That will be the major part of this lecture. Additionally, we'll solve some of the linear, non-linear problems, etc. also. Okay, some other techniques also. So there are, sorry, there's a mistake. First one is actually transport equation, not Laplace equation. It's a transport equation. So the first equation is called transport equation. Okay, it should be Laplace, not Laplace equation, transport equation. So the transport equation is as follows. Okay, so it is called ut plus a into ux equal to 0. I have a story for this one, how to derive that. Okay, I will explain it in the next to next class, how to solve the problem. Ut plus a ux equal to 0. Then we have heat equation. Ut is equal to alpha square uxx. This is called heat equation. Now in the wave equation, you put utt here equal to c square uxx. This is some constant. Okay, this is some constant for mathematics, but depending on the nature of the problem in different stream, that constant names will change. This is wave equation. Again, depending on the nature of the problem which is occurring, the name will change. Then you have this problem uxx plus uyy equal to 0. So these are the 4 important PDEs which you will be solving it in this entire course. Okay, so these 4 equations will be solving either in this way, or you will be solving it in a generalized way in the n-dimensional settings also. So here again, according to the previous definitions, you have seen the valid domain and valid functions, etc. are all assumed. So those things we'll discuss once we discuss more details. So what are the importance of this equation? For example, the transport equation is the simplest PDE with constant coefficient. This is the simplest PDE with constant coefficient. And also it is called, it is appearing in some of the convection, advection equations. Okay, it has applications in different science and engineering streams. For example, in chemistry, it will be applicable for purification and crystallization. And mechanical engineering, they will be using it for the convection diffusion equation. And civil engineer, I will explain that particularly this pollutant transport problem with the example in the once we discuss about transport equation in detail, how to derive the equations, etc. Okay, that is pollutant transport. And electrical engineers, they will be using it for Poisson and dispersion equation. In financial mathematics, dynamics of financial derivatives can be used in this way. For mathematician, it is simply a first order PD. Okay, it is simply a first order PD. Then heat equation, again, it has different names in different engineering and science stream. In thermodynamics, it is called heat equation. For mechanical engineer, it is called diffusion equation. Okay. And in civil engineering problem, they have a theory called Terasaki theory, which is talking about, you might have know, like the drilling is happening in the they drill the earth to take some kind of water or some kind of petrols, etc. So for which this Terasaki theory, this equation is used to obtain that how much force should be given, etc. So that is obtained from this one, that is called Terasaki theory. That is called consolidation equation in civil engineering, which is applied in the drilling problem. And electrical engineers use this equation for telegraph equation. Okay, this is the telegraph equation for electrical engineers. In financial mathematics, this is used as a Plaxall equation. Okay, that is also there. Then this is again used in the cancer treatment also. Okay, this is one of my research area where I have done. So this is a heat equation, bioheat equation. For example, once you are doing the exercise, or you will be generating some amount of heat, right? Suppose you are doing fast cycling or fast running, okay, or you do some exercise. Always your body will get some kind of heat energy, metabolism will be produced. So that equations can be also derived using this equation called bioheat equation. Also, this equation is used for solving the some of the cancer treatment using some of the needles which they will induce, and then they will produce some amount of heat. That is also from this one. Okay, that is called bioheat equation. Okay, again heat equation. Then apart from that, it is also applied in medical imaging. For example, if you take this scan, CT scan or MRI scan, so in that case also it is used as a equation to reconstruct the images. So that is medical imaging, or medical image smoothing also they use it. And similarly, inverse problem, where again they use this equation for example, in the scans where they take the breast scans or etc. For that is used. Then diffusion equation. Okay, so this is also called as diffusion equation, but that is like when the dispersion of the pollutant. Okay, that this equation I will explain in detail, like how do we get this transport equation or this pollutant equation. So from multiple sources, how do we obtain? So this equation I will derive. How to get the pollutant transport, I will explain that. So a similar kind of equation you can derive for this one with respect to some more sources. So that is called atmospheric diffusion equation, which is one of the important equation for pollutant transport. So that is also from this equation. In chemical engineering, again, concentration around the point, that is also derived using this equation. Okay, same kind of equation. Then wave equation, which is used in Light-Hill's acoustic wave analogy. Okay, that is, for example, if you send some radar signal or sonar signal, all these things, then you will be reflecting back, right? So those kind of equation, or if you take a violin string and then you take it and perturb it, so that is also going to be a wave equation. So those things we'll see it in the later classes. A few more PDEs, okay, like you can see some more PDEs. So for example, you can see the Burger's equation, which is going to discuss about the dynamic cases, how the gases are flowing or how the gas dynamics is going to work. So those things you can get it from the Burger's equation. So the Burger's equation is similar to the transport equation. In transport equation, you have A as a constant, whereas in Burger's equation, it will be a U. Okay, so that is similar to the transport equation. This is called Burger's equation. The Nyquist equation, which is one of the things, like for example, if you are going in a traffic or you're walking in a street, how the crowd is going to be following the path, etc. Those things you can derive from the Nyquist equation. Then Sark waves, again, we'll discuss that in detail in this course. Okay, the Sark waves is one of the important thing, which is, for example, if you might remember, like Kalpana Chawla, she died due to some space shuttle was crashed in the earth, right? So those things are due to the Sark waves problem, okay, which is one of the partial differential equation, which is going to describe like when the space shuttle is entering the earth, how it is going to collapse, etc. Those things are discussed using the Sark wave equation. Because here discontinuity is going to be framed. Okay, the discontinuity of the problem is going to be discussed. Then apart from that, we have a few more like biharmonic equation, which is going to discuss about some of the wave natures of problems. Okay, and then wave equation with the interaction. So this is the wave equation without interaction. If you have some interaction terms, that you can put some minus e cube, some other terms you can put it, that is the interaction you can do. And then Farn-Infeld equation is also used in many of the electromechanical engineering problem, which is this equation was actually Einstein was trying to derive this kind of equation for some of the Maxwell's thing, but some of the other theories, okay, like in physics they have a theory called unified theory, for which he was trying to do, but he was not able to get success, and then he moved to the theory of relativity because he was not very good at the partial differential equation he felt, and then he moved to that theory of relativity later. So that is one of this equation was Farn-Infeld. Okay, and then Mancke-Ampere, which is again going to discuss about the Riemannian geometry problem. Okay, in the Riemannian geometry, how are we going to get that, etc. That is going to be there. And Klein-Cardan equation, which is part of the quantum mechanics problem, where you will be solving this Schrödinger equation. Schrödinger equation in the next section. This is a further extension of the Schrödinger equation, where you will be solving this equation. And then Hamilton-Jacobi, again, it is going to be a problem. It is a problem in classical mechanics problem. This is again a PDE problem. Then Schrödinger equation, which is one of the important problem in quantum mechanics, which is given here. And then Euler-Bernoulli beam equation, which is going to discuss about the beam problem, where you take a beam and then just accelerate it or just make it like a swing. Then you will just see like what is the beam is going to observe, etc. That you can derive using this one. And Korteweg-de Vries equation, again, it's an important problem in some of the Riemannian geometries, etc. Then this one, again, Benjamin Monco-Moni equation and Blasov-Poisson equation. These are all some of the, again, some physical problems where you can explore it in the internet. Okay, this is one of the important equation, again, Maxwell's equation, where we are discussing about the displacement field. D is displacement field and H is magnetizing field, B is magnetic field, and E is electric field. So using which Maxwell has derived the set of relations between the magnetic and the electromagnetic. So electromagnetic, all these things he has derived. So this is one of the important equation, which is due to which you are able to attend this Zoom lecture, or you are able to communicate through to us with mobile phones, etc. All these things are due to this Maxwell's equation. Then slashing dynamics. This is another important problem. For example, once you are sending a rocket to Moon or Mars, what will happen is that you will observe that some fluid tank will be there, means that fuel will be there. Once it is going very fast, what will happen is that there will be some kind of oscillations will be happening that can disturb the entire rocket and that can collapse. A simple example I can tell you for this one is that, for example, you take a cup of a bucket, okay, take a bucket with half filled water, okay, and then you try to walk. Then what will happen? You will not get the balance, because the bucket will be having a kind of half filled water, so it will be oscillating, so it will be losing your balance sometimes. But if you make it like empty water, you will not lose the balance, or if you make it full also, the balance will be less. Now you just imagine the same situation for a rocket. The rocket is going at a very high speed, and there is a tank is there. That tank is, once the rocket is moving, it is going to be making some kind of oscillation is going to do. So due to that oscillation, sometimes if the structure of that rocket is not that good, then that will make some disturbance to the rocket, and then that can change the orbit which is going to launch, that can be changed. So those things can be covered by this equation called slashing dynamics. So I'll just show that video also for you, which I have. Yeah. Yes, this is slashing, not this one, next one is. This is the slashing dynamics, where you can see that like how that oscillation is going to happen. Okay, this is oscillation. So the tank is filled with half filled water. So you can see that the behavior of the tank. So it is going to oscillate heavily. Okay, it is going to oscillate heavily, and then you can slowly it is oscillating. But once it reaches some stage, what you can see is that it is going to oscillate heavily. Okay, and you can see the disturbance of the water, how it is going to move, etc. So that means it is going to become like completely chaotic. Okay, so it is going to be completely chaotic because of this oscillation. Even the rocket can fail, etc. And this is one of the important problem for many of the hi-fi cars, where, for example, BMW and all, they just solve this kind of problem in order to make their customers happy, because when you go in a high-speed car, again this slashing will make some noise to your noise in the car. Okay, so those kind of noise also they want to reduce. So for this also they have studied this slashing dynamics, where I was working with BMW and Volkswagen in Germany. So at that time we have solved this kind of equation, which is called slashing dynamics. Then this is called shallow water equation, which is again like tsunami waves are there, right? So those tsunami waves are governed by this shallow water equation, which is going to describe about how much the depth of the water, or how much the flow is going to be happen. Everything is described by this equation. So for which also I have a video. So the shallow water equation. Yeah, this is a shallow water equation. Okay, tsunami waves. This is a tsunami waves. How that is going to, so the tsunami is going to, when the earthquake is occurring at a certain stage, how that wave is going to propagate, how the water is going to propagate, and how much height it is going to obtain. Everything can be described in this equation. Okay, so this is called tsunami waves, how it is going to come again. Then we have a Reynolds transport equation. So this one we'll discuss more details in one of the lecture. Okay, Reynolds transport theorem, which is the basic fundamental block for many of the following equation. For example, the Euler equation can be derived using this Reynolds transport theorem. And then the Navier-Stokes equation, which is also one of the fundamental equation. The consideration of the three principles are there. One is consideration of mass, consideration of momentum, and consideration of energy. So these three principles are governed by this transport theorem only. This is also once again kind of partial differential equation. Then you have weather prediction. For example, now we can say that whether you are going to get a rain or you are going to get a storm, etc. Those are all derived from this partial differential equation once again, which is called weather prediction. Then this is another important problem from European Space Agency I was working with. So this is kind of a drone's helicopter rotor. Okay, in the helicopter there is a rotor, right? Similarly in drones also, like four fans will be there, which is going to make the lift of the drones, etc. So those equations are governed by again the partial differential equation. Those are given by these equations. Then if you want to find what is the minimal surface, etc., this is another equation. Okay, so let me start with these goals, and then we'll next one we'll discuss about the millennium problem in the next class. So what are we going to do in this course is that, suppose an industrial problem, okay, when an industrial problem or a real world problem or a physical problem is given to you, okay, what you need to do is that you need to model them mathematically. Then once you model that mathematically, you got to check whether it is falling under the category of partial differential equation. Not necessarily that all the equation is going to fall under the partial differential equation. Some of the equations will fall under partial differential equation. So then one of the fundamental question is, which PDE should I choose? Suppose you have real world problem, which PDE you got to choose, that you got to check it. Okay. So this discussion, so no general answer for that. So you got to discuss about some of the important physical system, okay, which is there from the 18th century onwards. So that we are going to discuss. Then existence and uniqueness also we are going to discuss. So we will try to answer the following questions in this lecture. First question, does the PDE have any solution? The existence. Okay, does the PDE have any solution? Suppose if it is having a solution, what are the necessary conditions which we need to solve for a particular PDE? Okay, that we got to see. And then next question is, are the solutions unique for a given data? Suppose the data is given, whether you are going to get a unique solution or not. That is another question. Then what are the basic qualitative properties of the solution? Whether it will be oscillating, whether it will be discontinuous or it will be continuous, all these things will be discussing. Again, we'll discuss about the nature of singularities. There will be some singularities will be occurring. We have to discuss whether it is going to apply or not. And then suppose you have fed some input data and you disturb some of the input data. So I have given some epsilon modification I have given. That epsilon modification, will it affect the solution large? Okay, that is kind of ill-post or well-post problems we'll be discussing. So that also we are going to discuss. Then what are all the quantitative estimates, like norm of the function or what is the absolute value of the function, all these things will be defined. Then you can define norm solution and the error estimates, all these things will define. Okay, with respect to the norm, we'll discuss. So with this, I will stop the lecture. We'll discuss about the clay-mate problem and we'll start with our solution part in the next lecture. Do you have any questions? Okay, so the idea is that you have plenty of equations in the world which can be governed by partial differential equation which you can solve. Okay, so that is the idea of this one. So we'll solve few problems in the upcoming lectures. If you have any questions, let me know. Any questions? Okay, if not, you can leave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.